Hello and welcome to Three Questions with my friend Darlene Daniele with us. Darlene's an attorney. Welcome to the show, Darlene.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you for having me on here.
Sure. So Darlene, whenever I have attorneys on the show, I always like to start with a disclaimer because you never know when someone's watching this video in the future. Would you mind just giving us a little disclaimer before we start, please?
Of course. The information in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as legal advice, nor does it create an attorney-client relationship. An attorney-client relationship will be established with the attorney only in a written agreement signed by both you and the attorney. You should consult an attorney for specific advice about your situation.
Thank you. So, Darlene, very challenging times right now. And what I've found is a lot of my friends have fallen behind on their bills. And they're worried. They just feel like they're never going to get caught up. Is that kind of one of the first signs that maybe you should consider speaking to you about bankruptcy?
I think, everybody has a gut feeling. And if you are falling behind, if you cannot make your minimum payments, if you're incurring a lot of late fees, you're getting phone calls from creditors, everyone knows at that point that in your gut, something's not right. And so I think that is the first sign that you should at least evaluate your financial situation.
So, Darlene, what are some of the steps people should take then?
Well, one thing I suggest people do, and it's very difficult to sit down and do this, very, very painful, is to figure out what your income is. And that's usually pretty straightforward for most people, unless you're, self-employed. But figure out what your income is and then list all of your essential expenses. And so that would be anything other than credit cards, and installment loans that are not things like a car payment, because a car really is essential. And then include things like groceries and utilities, rent or mortgage, and see what that all adds up to. If you, at that point, look at your income and expenses and your expenses exceed your income, then you have a problem. Because if you can't even meet your basic expenses with your current income, then you certainly are going to have trouble making payments on your credit cards and other installment debt.
So, Darlene, is bankruptcy the only option? Are there any other options before we go to this?
There are other non-bankruptcy options. And my philosophy is that bankruptcy is a last resort, so it's not good to jump into it. Sometimes it's not the right solution for someone at this particular point in their lives. If, for example, if somebody is between jobs, they may be able to work out some kind of what's called a forbearance with their creditors, where maybe payments are put on hold for a while, or maybe payments are put at the end of the loan. And if it's a temporary situation, maybe something can be worked out without filing bankruptcy. So it helps to talk to an attorney, not only to evaluate whether you need or whether a bankruptcy is right for you, but also whether there is something you can do so you don't have to file a bankruptcy.
So, Darlene, how can people reach out to you? How can they learn more if they have this issue?
I'm happy to speak with people. We're limiting in-person visits at this point, but I'm happy to do a Zoom conference or a brief telephone call. If you want, I'll give out my number. It's 603-898-4383, and I am licensed in both New Hampshire and Massachusetts. They can also visit my website, which has some interesting blog articles. There's one in particular about how to determine whether or not you need to file bankruptcy. And it talks about that formula. It expands on the analysis of your income and expenses. And it's something that people can do at home before they even give me a call. And that website is www.darlenedaniellelaw.com.
Darlene, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you, Kevin.